Hello, good afternoon. Here I wanted to present to you the program on practical steps for zero carbon buildings using EDGE. And this is part of the work that has been done within the World Bank Group. Before starting, I wanted to introduce myself. My name is Omid Saberi. I'm Senior Green Building Industry Specialist and Global Technical Lead for EDGE program. I'm based I'm part of the IFC's World Bank Group, and I'm based in Washington, D.C., United States. The first question is, what is IFC? IFC is part of the World Bank Group, the private sector arm of the World Bank Group, and provides support to development projects around the world through financial solutions. I'm also part of the climate business department of IFC, which supports climate projects. Specifically, I work on green buildings. Before we start, we just want to make sure that we cannot tackle climate change without tackling the buildings emissions. Buildings is the elephant in the room, is the largest piece of puzzle, but also at the same time, it's the most complex part of puzzle to be solved because there's lots of players in the building sector. The World Green Building Council has set two targets for all new buildings, and they need to be zero carbon by 2030, and all new and existing building needs to operate at zero carbon by 2050. And within next 28 years, we need to convert all our buildings, including the buildings that we live in, the workplace, schools, hospitals, every building should be operating at zero carbon. And this requires certification support, corporate and government support, training and education, and different players to come together. If you look at the number of zero carbon buildings globally, it's nowhere near where we should be. There's a huge undertaking that needs to be done. But at the same time, this is one of the largest opportunities in climate sector where it can generate jobs as well as generates new businesses and new industries. What we have been doing within IFC is called IFC's Green Building Market Transformation Program. IFC's Green Building Market Transformation has four-part strategy. Number one is the part that we support through our direct investments, buildings to be transferred from normal buildings to become green buildings. We already invested more than $6 billion directly in green buildings through our direct investments. We also work with the banks, commercial banks, and our work with them includes financial instruments to support green building investments. We work with the green building codes and incentives with governments, and governments through the city government or federal government or national government can support increasing number of green buildings. And finally, we work on EDGE certification, which is a solution to certify buildings and is a way that connects all these elements together. So what is EDGE? EDGE stands for Excellence in Design for Greater Efficiencies. It has three elements: a free software, a standard that is achievable, and it has a verified green label or certificate. The free software is available to everyone. It's free of charge, and it's an added value for public good that everyone can use around the world to design their buildings and build buildings as per the requirements in the software to become green building. The standard is very simple. It has a 20% reduction for energy, for water, and for materials. And that 20% is from a local baseline for each city, each building type. And once that standard is achieved, which software will show whether a building achieves that standard or not, building can get certified. And the certificate is very transparent and is done through multiple levels of quality control and quality assurance, therefore giving the peace of mind to the government as well as to banks to accept this certificate as a quality standard. Edge can be used in a variety of building types, from homes to hospitals to retail, warehouses, all sorts of buildings. What is important in Edge is that you can use Edge even in a social housing that is 40 square meter, all the way to 5-star hotel, for example, or resort. You can use it for a small kindergarten or school, or you can use it for large shopping mall or department store or airport terminal. We also have seen, because of COVID, a lot of interest in the warehousing sector, including in China. We have been looking at warehousing to expand the number of warehouses with green conditions. There are 3 levels of Edge certification. The base level is called Edge Certified. Edge Certified is, as I said, 20% reduction in energy, water, and materials. If you improve the energy efficiency higher to 40%, then that building can get certified as Edge Advanced. Edge Advanced is the 2nd level. We also call Edge Advanced as zero carbon ready asset. So that asset then can apply for zero carbon certification. I will explain how a building can get to zero carbon from Edge Advanced level. So when a project being certified as Edge Advanced, it means that it try to achieve the maximum efficiency on site. Sometimes it's not possible to get beyond level of efficiency on site. So that's why we make sure that the 40% is there for achieving efficiency on site. There needs to be operational data and occupancy. So the occupancy and real consumption of energy and water and other, all the carbon emissions are very important. Using that data, then they can use off-site renewable energy or, as a last resort, carbon offset to achieve zero carbon certification. The good thing about this type of certification is that it can be done in the center of Shanghai, where you have high-rise buildings, or in Beijing, or in a village. So anywhere you can use zero carbon certification by Edge to certify assets. You don't need to have big land to use a lot of solar system. It can be used in any project. This is a certificate, zero carbon certificate, that shows a lot of data around the real consumption of the energy. It shows the carbon offsets. It shows the validity of the certificate. This certificate needs to be renewed every 2 years to show the continuous verification of zero carbon condition. Edge certification is available for the design of the building as well as for construction. You can also use it for operation with zero carbon certification. This process is very efficient. We have projects that have been certified within few weeks. So the process of certifying at each level is very efficient. There would be a design audit and construction audit for the auditors to inspect the building. It's also important that Edge can be used for existing buildings. You can certify an existing building, or you can retrofit an existing building and meet Edge standard and certify it. There are a number of case studies on our website that you can refer to. We already certified more than 28 million square meters of projects, and we certify roughly around $1 billion of projects every month, using Edge. And this volume is amazing because it generates the new asset classes for the banks and for also for the users, for the benefit of the users. The other piece that is important to mention here is how what we are seeing with the portfolio clients, with the large asset owners, either private sector or public sector, either large companies, that they have large portfolio of assets, thousands of assets. Edge can be used quite easily to identify, to pre-assess all these assets, identify their level of performance, and set a plan to improve the performance, and then move them to zero carbon. So it can be used to plan by when you can get to the level of standard of Edge certified, by when you can get to Edge Advanced, and also to zero carbon certification. Edge already approved by International Green Finance Standards for green buildings. You can see that Edge is approved by ICMA, International Capital Market Association, Climate Bonds Initiative, GRESB, CDP, and all of these help the banking sector to easily use Edge as to issue green bonds, to issue green loans, or green mortgages. These are some examples of the work that has been done, and the banks like HSBC, ProCredit, all the banks that issued green construction using Edge, green construction loans, and green mortgages, or issuing in the capital markets, issuing green bonds. So green bonds issuance can be done by the banks, or it can be done by the private sector companies. In China, we have been working in China with Mohart and CSTID. We started working with them in 2015, 2016. This is one of the points that we did the Edge expert review of Edge Baseline, and we updated Edge Baseline specifically for China. In China, we have Hong Kong Quality Assurance Agency, GBCI, Sintali, and SGS certifying projects for Edge in China. We already trained Edge experts and auditors, but there is room for training more engineers and architects to learn about Edge and apply it to their projects. And these are some of the projects that have been certified in China. This is Johnson Controls headquarters in Shanghai, which was certified as Edge Advanced. It's one of our early Edge Advanced office buildings, impressive building that was certified by Edge. It was also certified by LEED Platinum, as well as 3-star, China 3-star certification. This is another example of a bank, ProCredit, that certified their own buildings, their own headquarters, as well as their own branches, and they are looking at using Edge for green financing with their own clients and green mortgages. So it's an instrument that can be used by the banks as well as by private sector companies. Edge also, beside Edge, we have been working on Building Resilience Index. This is a program for climate adaptation to identify, manage, and disclose natural disasters risk in buildings. And stay tuned, this is a new initiative by IFC. Our program is supported by UK Aid as well as by Swiss government. We are thankful to all our donors that support Edge program globally. I want to thank you for your attention to my presentation, but also I wanted to request you to check our website, edgebuildings.com, as well as Follow us on Twitter and LinkedIn on Edge Buildings. Thank you so much and have a great afternoon. Bye bye now.